My name is George Parnham. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I've been doing it for over half a century. I've engaged in defenses of individuals throughout the country, and I understand that my associate Tom Abbate will talk about the details of forgery, both federal and state. And with that, I'd like to introduce my trusted associate, Tom Abbate. Tom?
Tom Abbate, and today I'm going to talk to you about forgery. Now, forgery cases are largely like theft cases in that the exact level of the crime is going to be largely dependent upon what exactly you did and what exactly was taken as a result. For instance, the most basic form of forgery is forging someone's signature on, say, a check where you have made out to yourself a certain amount of dollars without their knowledge. Now, the level of the offense is going to be dependent upon how much you were able to steal, essentially. And so, without getting into all of the nitty-gritty, because it can be anywhere from a misdemeanor all the way up to a first-degree felony, depending on how much was taken, just know that it's largely going to be dependent upon that. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is that the type of document that is forged will also have a determination as to what the punishment range is. For instance, creating a fictitious driver's license is the forgery of a government document. And even if you did not steal anything, through the use of that document, that can still have its own charges, and it has its own punishment range just by virtue of the fact that you tampered with a government document. Now, when we talk about forgery, we're going to be talking about some instance where it's alleged that the defendant has taken some kind of other document and altered it or manipulated it in some way. The previous example of the check is just by virtue of signing that check. The driver's license example is by virtue of altering a government document. There are other instances where this can be accomplished without actually having stolen anything. For instance, one thing that happens from time to time is a defendant will somehow manage to get a hold of a prescription pad from a doctor's office, and then they will write themselves prescriptions for whatever drugs they want, go and pay for those drugs with the intention to either use them themselves or sell them on the street. That is still a forgery. Even though there was no monetary loss, there was still the manipulation of the document itself. So the base level of the base premise of the offense is that manipulation of the document. The state just determines the level of punishment based on what happened and what document was manipulated. So it's very important that you have good representation for these kinds of things because you can get into a lot of minor issues that take a lot of time to focus in on. A lot of times when something like this happens, it is not just a one-off incident. There may be a continuing scheme. And that can involve looking at it from a forensic standpoint in terms of getting a forensic accountant. Maybe you had some rights to the money, but not all of the money. And so you've got to determine what level was actually stolen. Maybe the government's trying to say, well, you stole $1 million, when the reality is you only stole a few hundred. This can all have a very important impact on the outcome of your case. And so it's very important that you have good representation that is willing, ready, and able to assist you in fighting your case in full.